Hi, my name is Alessandro Cangelosi and that's a video tutorial coming from cgcookie.com for Max Cookie. This time we will talk again about Pyrocluster and we'll move to a new step and we'll try to simulate a comet or an asteroid falling and moving through the sky on the Earth. So we'll try to do something we've done before using other packages and other plugins, and we'll do it using Pyrocluster to understand how to use more feature. Let's go in 3ds Max, and I'd like just to check the unit setup. Let's go at meters, okay, and we have to create our Meteor. Let's say that the Meteor is maybe 10 meters. Okay. And we need to create some chaos over this sphere. So I start using a noise. And we'll start with fractal. And let's go for 2 meters, 5 meters, 2 meters. And I use a bigger scale, so you see we have something more like a rock deformation. Okay, and then we can use another, this time maybe an FFD, just to have some changes to the surface, to the structure. You see, I work it just find the best way to achieve the result I like to have. And this one can go inside. Okay, now we can close the FFD. We can go for to use a turbo smooth. Then we can add another noise with fractal, and let's go for 1 meters, 2 meters, or 0.5 meters and 1 meters, a little bit bigger. Let's see, you see that we have a little bit more rock effects, and then we can go for another turbo smooth, and now we can play with a displays that will use a spherical map. Let's go inside the material editor, and we can create a map that will be used. So the first one can be a cellular map, and we can assign it there as an instance. And we'll start to edit. Now we can scale it. And fractal. And let's say that maybe we can have in this way, and it would be bigger. Okay, another layer, so there we can use a composite map, keep all map, a submap, and the second one will be again a cellular, so we can copy it, and this one will be cheap, and we'll have less iteration. Let's go for an invert. And there, let's go for black. So you you see I'm creating some strange surface over it. Okay, and this one there, let's say subtraction, and you see not so much, but just enough to have this strange structure there. And then maybe we can just add the last one. That can be again a noise, and this time I'll go for a turbulence with less power. Okay, and let's go there. Let's say multiply, for example. So you see, we see it there. Let's see with the addition. I don't like it, so let's go for the multiply. Okay, I'd like to scale it. We need more detail. Okay, so now we can see it in a better way. Okay, something like that. So let's save our scene in the right folder, and we call 3ds Max particles, let's say Meteor, Pyrocluster Meteor, or maybe Meteor with Pyrocluster. Let's copy the name, and then I can save. Okay, so we have our basic objects there, and let's say that we have maybe we have there let's go for 200 frames just to have more frames to play with. And let's say that we have a curve. Maybe we can try with something like that. Then let's choose the Meteor, and we can call it Meteor, and we can assign the path and add this path. So that's the animation. Okay. I like to see the position that is used. Okay. Let's say to follow. Okay. Perfect. So now I like to find a position for the camera, and let's say that the camera is there for the moment, and I like to see the comet arriving. So it is arriving from out the screen, and then it is going inside. Okay. Let's say that at the beginning we have this point of view. Okay. and then we move the camera and just trying to figure a good animation. So actually it will be something like that. The comet is arriving and pass through the screen. Okay, let's go in the animation there, and let's go to use just one screen, and I like to see all the curve. So this point will be linear, and that's for the target. Let's select the camera, and we'll have the same linear animation at the beginning and close. So that's the object going inside and out of the screen. Okay, perfect. Save, and let's start playing with the animation. Okay, we have to start playing with the lighting and also the particles. So first of all, let's do a really simple material for the Meteor. Let's call it Meteor, and we'll use maybe also the finalRender to render it, but obviously you can render it using the finalRender too. So let's go there, and let's say that we render the scene using a finalRender. Okay, and this one will be an advanced material, but it will be only a simple material, nothing so special. Let's say that we'll use let's try with something we can have there. So let's use a noise, and we use a dark gray and a dark brown with fractal 100. Let's render just one frame. So you see, nothing special actually. We need the lights, and we can use the skylight. And let's say that we have the simple sky. Now let's use the physical sky, sunlight, and show sky and environment. And let's say that we have 10 on the morning. Let's render. Okay. Let's say that it's another time because I like to render using another illumination. Okay. Let's have the visible sun if we have the sun inside the camera. And then let's work a little bit. I don't like to see the ground, but it's not a problem because we render at 900, 400. So this will be our resolution. Okay, let's go in the camera, and let's see the parameters coming from Cebas. We have there the physical camera render preview. So we have a preview there, and we can work directly there. You see outdoor daylight and all the other preview, and obviously we have the possibility to change the film speed ISO, and we can play with the aperture, you see, to have a better rendering. Let's go for 1.5, 1.7. Okay, and we have the possibility to control the image aspect. The image aspect, I mean the quality and the look of the image. And let's say that I like to have a little bit of vignetting. change a little bit to the blue, the white point there, and I like to have a little bit more saturation. For the moment we can stay with this value. Let's see how it render, and obviously we have to check the rendering there. Let's retry to render. Okay, we have the right render. And talking about the color there, I like to play a little bit with the object color. Let's say that we have 35 because I like to start see the tail there and render, and we have some stuffs over the rock. Okay, so it's not important to have more detail because we'll have also the smoke and the fire over it, so we don't need nothing else. Okay, so now we need the particle system, so let's use particle flow, and we'll use a really simple setup. Okay, that's our screen. We need a position object because we have to emit the particles from the meteor, and by list meteor, let's say that we have particles emitting from -10 to 200. Let's say that we have 20,000 particles, and let's see what we have there. Okay, let's go for to see dots, and let's scale it there. So that's what we see. Let's have the speed, but the speed will be deleted, and the rotation too. The speed is not useful, so the shape we can go to 0 because we'll not render the particles. And I like to have back the speed because I like to play a little bit with it. So speed, and let's say that the particles will go in a random position, and let's say maybe in 15 and 5. Okay, it is actually too fast. Let's say and 3. And I like to have more chaos and less particles, so let's see half particles, or maybe 5,000 particles. Okay, and we have also to delete the particles, so after a while, let's say that we have the delete, and the particles will have an age of 150 with 25. So you see we have particles, and then the particles start to die when they are in the other point there. Okay, maybe later we have to fix a little bit the speed of the particles, but we have to check. So for the moment, stay with this configuration, and let's go inside the environment, and we have to add the Pyrocluster. Pick the particle, okay, and we have actually no lights. Okay, let's go there, and I like to see it in the viewport, but obviously we have too little volume there. Let's check, and you see that we have the volume there. Let's start playing with the volume, inside the environment. Okay, first of all, I like to change the scaling. Let's say that we have 3 maybe meters at the beginning, and we can play with the sphere radius, and let's say that we can use the particle age effects. So I'd like to change it. But maybe it's better to use the distance. So let's go for the meter distance, and the sphere radius will be changed when it is distant. Okay, let's go in, but before we have to go there, and we have to put the Pyrocluster there inside the first node, so we can interact with the Pyrocluster data and the particle flow data. Then we can go back there, and now you see that we have to write the right parameters, and I think we can go back because it's better to have the particle age, or maybe I'm thinking about let's use the particle distance because it's not a problem. Okay, so that's our simulation, and you see that we have the particles going over and over. And before, let's use a basic value, let's use 5, and then we change it. So we need the illumination, because actually we have no illumination. We have no shading actually, and we have, let's remove for the moment the GI, and let's see what happens. Okay, actually we have just black stuffs. We can use maybe the GI, but it will be a little bit slow to be simulated, so we go for a light to illuminate it, and let's go for a target distance. Okay, we have to make it bigger, obviously, so let's go inside the directional, let's say 50 meters, 150 meters, or 350, 500 meters. Okay, and overshoot, and we'll have the shadow map, or we can use also the other maps there from the finalRender, but we can go with this one, and we need also the shadows for the atmosphere. So let's save, and let's see what we have inside the rendering now. We have still black because we have to go inside the Pyrocluster, and we have to assign the light, and let's see now. Okay, you see that now we have white stuffs. First of all, let's go for to have self shadow. So you see that now we have the shadows from the volume, and let's go to see when we have smoke near the camera. Okay, so we can play in a simple way to control the smoke look. So first of all, we have to change the scale for the volume there. Let's play a little bit with the scaling. We have there 500. Let's go for, let's say, 350 at the beginning, and we want to have 1000 at the end, and and let's see. You see that the smoke is expanding and the sphere too, but I think that we have still too little particles because we have a really big life. Okay, let's go for bigger scale again. And let's go for 5,000. Okay, it seems really too much for 4,000. Okay, now you see that the smoke is really big. Okay, let's close, and there is little, and that's not bad. Then we need to scale the noise, so let's go inside the noise. Actually we are using the fireball with the turbulence. Let's try to go for a smoke, and let's say that the size is maybe 100, and let's check just the smoke look and render. Okay, the scaling is starting to be better than before, but actually it's still too little. Okay, so let's see that we have sides maybe let's say 500 at the beginning, and then the sides will be controlled by the particle age, and at the end we have 5,000 and render. Now we try to use also less particles to be faster during the rendering, because I like to see how it looks in a faster way. And let's change the position to a perspective. Okay, so we can see it. And let's go in the particles, or we can use directly there. Let's say that we use we have all the particles visible, so let's say 10,000, and we have this kind of view, but we need to have less particles. Or we can directly change the particles, because we don't need too much particles there. So let's go there, and let's say to use maybe, let's go for 500, and we say to use all the particles in viewport. And that's what we say actually. Okay, there we have not so much particles, but we can play with it to have a better look. Okay, now we see in the right way. So let's go near the volume. Okay, you see we have to play with the noise. So let's go back there, and let's change. So let's try with a lower number. Let's try 50 there and 500 at the end. and render. Okay, now we are starting to see something. Let's try to have a different thing. Let's see with a fractal. Okay, so let's see. Just play a little bit to find the best way to see it. Okay. Let's get there. And I play to see more detail there. And let's go for the moment to 5 for the detail. You see that the scaling is too much actually, so we have to change it. And I like also to go there and to change. First of all, I'd like to see, okay, let's change the density of the volume. Let's go for a low with a cubic fall off. It is still really high. Let's go for 1. I'm trying to achieve a really low density there, and then I play with the effects over the age. Okay, let's try to animate the density, and we'll use the age, and we'll have density set to 0. Let's see another render. Okay, the density is lowering, but it's still really high. Let's save. Let's go back in the sides, and I like to have there a bigger sides at the end. Let's say 2000, and at the beginning we can go for 500. And I like to see also the density falling before, so that means that this one will be let's see, to have another point there. So we make it falling. Let's render a test. So you see that seems that the scaling is better than before for the noise. And we have to start playing with the color. Cancel. Okay. To control the color, we can go there. We are not using the GI actually, so we can go there and put a light on this side, and this light will be similar to the sky, but will be low, so let's think about 0.25. And we have to say obviously to Pyrocluster, sorry, that's to Pyrocluster to use it. So there we have to add this new light. Let's see what happened. Okay, you see that we are using the light actually. Okay, let's stop and let's play a little bit with the color. So we have the color there, and let's say that we use the first color will be a really hot yellow, and that's what we can obtain in this way. You see we have the yellow. Then if we have, for example, a red, let's see what happened. See that we have the red visible there with some yellow inside. So another thing we can do, well, I like to work with the colors, and to work with the colors we can go for a color 1, and we can use a function to control the color, and we can use again the particle age, and you see that we have the gradient, and we can use the gradient to have, let's say, maybe white particles because we have a really high lighting, then we have yellow particles, then red particles, and then there, let's say, really dark particles, and there we have still dark particles. Maybe there we have a little bit of combustion, so we have darker particles. We can see what we have there now, so we can render a test, and we should have this color variation on the particles, and you see that we have white, yellow, red, and then black and gray particles. I mean, maybe we can have let's go there. There we can have just a different color. Sorry. I mean, I like to have again a red color, and then there we can go for a gray, more dense at the beginning, and then a little bit more clear. Okay, let's see again the result. Okay, so you see we introduced this new color after the red color. I think we can have the white, the yellow color for a little bit more. So let's go again there. Okay, something like that. Let's close, and we can go to have again a little bit more particles. Let's say maybe 1500. Okay. And let's go to check new other steps there. Okay, there, and let's see if we can introduce the stretching, but not so much, because you see this picking, the scale not in the right way, but something like that maybe can be okay. And let's check how it looks. Okay, I like to introduce a little bit of variation inside the color. So back at the beginning to the color, and we can have nothing so much, let's see, maybe 0.15 about the hue, and a little bit of saturation and a little bit of variation. And let's see, I'd like just to have a little bit of coloring in a different way. It's too much, we have to go back there to the hue, and the hue will be 0.05. I think that it is still a little bit strange in this area. So let's stop. And maybe it's better to have no variation there. And let's try to have just the saturation and the variation there. Okay, let's check what happens if we have, for example, luminance set to 100. Okay, you see that we have any kind of self-illumination, but we need the self-illumination there, and we don't need self-illumination there. So we can obviously go there, luminosity, particle age, and we'll have 100 there, and we can have there 0, and there 0. So you see we have after a while no more illumination, and it should work. So we'll have more illumination there and no illumination on this area. Let's stop. Okay, and save. Now let's go from before, I like to see, maybe we can see also with a motion blur how it works later. There we don't need to know something for those. For the moment we can leave with a basic value for the shadows, and we have there the sphere, and I like to see now from let's go back to all the view from the camera point of view. Okay, so I think I like to make a little bit of change to the particle flow source, so I like to have less speed. Let's think maybe 5 and 1. So you see it is opening a little bit less. Let's see what we have inside the rendering, for example, in this point of view, from this point of view. Let's wait for the shadows. See, it is a little bit slow actually. I think we can remove also the variation because I see some color I don't like. So let's close there. Let's go back to the environment and we remove for the moment the variation. And I like to have the camera there, move there, and move up there. Let's see if the animation is right. Okay, we have to still waiting. It's better to go back there and set the animation to, because you see we have everything is moving really fast and this one must move in a different way. So let's see, at the beginning we can move this one there, and let's say that there. Okay, there we are in a wrong position. Okay, let's work in a different way. So let's remove the key. I prefer to have a different animation, and let's say that that's the point of view, and let's see to remove this key. Okay, there, let's say first of all that we have this one moved this way, so we see it's arriving. And there we need still to see it. And the position there is wrong. So back play, it is arriving. We move to check it, and then we'll follow it. Okay, and let's say that there we are checking the smoke, and back. Let's use the show save frame. There it's too fast. Okay, and there our position will be to check the body in this way, and we have to fix also the animation there. So we have it arriving, and there we have to control the animation. Let's try to have this one at 50 and back. Okay, there is not bad. We have just to check again the beginning, because there it's too fast. So let's try to see what happens if we remove this one and we have just to play. Okay, it is moving. It is arriving up our head, and we'll try to follow it. Okay, let's see to save, and let's see what happened from this point of view. But I like to make it a little bit more little. Can speed up obviously the shadows calculation, and we work on it. Because you see actually it's really slow. It is rendering, and there the look is not bad. We have just to tune the scaling and obviously also the noise movement, because actually we have no control over the noise, and we have to control also the look there. But it is going in the right way. Okay, actual preview is this one. We have to work a little bit more there for the look, and we have to work more there to finalize how it looks near the Meteor, and then we have to add all the other effects to have the final result. And I mean rendering setup for the environment. We have to work a little bit with our motion blur over the Meteor clouds, and we have to tune up all the other parameters to be sure that we have the max quality, and we have to speed up also the shadows and the rendering. So we have something more to do. So we'll split the tutorial into parts, and the first one was just the basic setup of the scene, and in the second one we'll try to finalize and to comp the final render. So for the moment that's all, and I hope to see you back on Max Cookie to check for new tutorial coming from cgcookie.com. Bye.